Hi everybody, this is Al Spath on Positive Poker Insiders, and we got a double-barrel treat for you today. Just interview with Roy Cook up in Las Vegas, and today we have the 2009 Poker Hall of Famer himself, Mike Sexton, out with a new book, Life's a Gamble. Mike, are you there in Vegas?
I'm here, doing fine. Good to talk to you.
It's great to talk to you. I know you've been giving interviews all over the place, but nothing but great reviews about the book. I haven't read it myself yet, but I can't wait to get my hands on it. When is it available for everybody?
Well, it's going to be available for everybody in bookstores and on Amazon.com on July 7th. You can pre-order it now, but if you have to be at the World Series of Poker starting about June 18th, you'll be able to get a copy there. It'll be on sale there. So before July 7th, if you're at the World Series, you can get it. Otherwise, you can order it online or go to Barnes & Nobles or bookstores on July 7th and pick it up.
That's great. That's great. Heard nothing but good things. The review I read by Nolan Dollar last week was absolutely fantastic. I trust in what he writes about, and he gave you a glowing review on that. Thank you.
Yeah, it was very nice of him, and I appreciate it. And but he's like a poker historian that would appreciate some of the stories more than most, probably. But it really is a fun, entertaining book. I can honestly say that, and I can't imagine any poker player or golfer or anybody that gambles at all on anything would not thoroughly enjoy this book.
I understand it's not a poker book to teach people how to play poker. It relives some of the stories and experiences that you've had, and it chronicles the history of poker a little bit.
It does that a little bit, yeah. It's as you said, it's not a how-to book, but it's a connection that I have with all the legends of the game. Basically, there's separate chapters in the book on Stu Unger and Chip Reese and Doyle Brunson and Puggy Pearson and Billy Baxter. Those guys have all got their own chapter. There's high-stakes action gambling stories and the history of the World Series, the first 30 years before television came around, and it's just a very fun, entertaining read, very knowledgeable. Certainly a lot of life lessons in the book that you can pick up on, and I firmly believe that everybody will love this book.
Well, we certainly hope so, because you are one of the finest ambassadors for the game. I had on the pleasure of having on Rick Muni, and he spoke so highly about you. Of course, my good friends Mark and Tina, they just had a dinner party over at your house about a month or so ago when you were over there with, I think, Linda Johnson, and Linda and Jan always say the nicest things. But I got to switch up a little bit here. Tell me how you got a scholarship as a gymnast to Ohio State.
Well, my brother and I started going to the Dayton YMCA when we were young, about 8, 9 years old or so, and joined the Y, and they had tumbling classes at the Y, and we started doing tumbling, and then virtually got the apparatus working. Fortunately for us, our high school had a gymnastic program, and it was pretty big back in those days, and so we just graduated to high school gymnastics, and we were very good. And my brother, in fact, was a superstar and became the first All-American gymnast at Oklahoma, and I went to Ohio State on a full scholarship, and so it worked out well for us.
The paths that people take to get there. I understand you also was a U.S. Army paratrooper of the 82nd Airborne. Thank you for your service, sir.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. No, when you're doing flips all your life like I was doing, the next thing is just jumping out of a plane. I always wanted to do it, so to be a paratrooper. So I joined the Army when I got out of college, and became stationed with the 82nd Airborne Division at Fort Bragg, and just loved it, honestly. I love the Army.
That's great. I did 24 years in the Air Force myself. I know how you feel, and again, thank you for your service, sir. I certainly appreciate that. You also, along with this book, Life's a Gamble, folks, you can get that book beginning on the 18th at the World Series of Poker, and of course you can pre-order it now on Amazon and other outlets. But you also have a couple other books that you've authored, Shuffle Up and Deal, I believe, an Ultimate No Limit Texas Hold'em Guide.
No, that one, I didn't do an Ultimate Texas Hold'em Guide. That was mine. I did a chapter in excelling in Ultimate Hold'em.
Okay.
By Jonathan Little, but I did write Shuffle Up and Deal back when we started the World Poker Tour.
Yes.
They wanted to have a library of books, of their own books, so I wrote the first one for them back in 2004 called Shuffle Up and Deal. Actually made the New York Times bestseller list for its category, so that was nice. But even now, and I know them all. Obviously, I still laugh at them, and I still enjoy them, and it's still fun for me to read them, to be honest with you. You know, I was just very fortunate I had a link to the ultimate high stakes and the legends of the poker world back in the 70s and 80s. And because of that, we became very close to all of them. And, you know, there's just not many people today that are able to tell stories who were there, you know, like I was. And, you know, if I don't tell them, who's going to tell them? So, you know, I'm happy to do it. I was happy and fortunate to be a part of it all. And these are all stories in this book that I saw or witnessed. So, you know, everything's true in there, and it's exciting.
Let me ask you a question, and maybe this is a spoiler alert or anything. Did Vince make it into the book, your sidekick?
Yeah, he wrote the foreword for my book.
Oh, he did he? You know,
he wrote the foreword to the book, which I was grateful for, and so yeah, he's in there a few times.
Well, I got a couple of stories about Vince that I'd like to tell you, and one of them was in an article I wrote back in the day, and it went out like this. And this is when you first came on the air. It said hearts begin to pound and sweat and beat on foreheads, and TV lights glare into the faces of the poker world's newest and most cunning final table competitors. A non-stop, ever-changing, pressure-packed action continues to unfold. It went on and on and on. And then the tells are cleverly disguised. And Vince Van Patten shamelessly announces, Daniel Negreanu has picked up a monster hand, pocket fours. I about fell over on the couch when he first started out. He came out with these things like, oh boy, this is a good one. Here he goes. Watch what this guy can do. He just captivated us right from the beginning.
Yeah. You know, it's been great to work with. I've been very fortunate. We were there since day one of the World Poker Tour. We're now in our 15th season, and you know, he's just phenomenal to work with, and we just have a lot of fun everywhere we go, so it's great.
In that same broadcast, he happened to say that this guy has made a nice comeback. This guy keeps coming back like a broke cousin. Do you remember him saying one of those a couple times?
That's a classic line. It is a great line.
It is a great line. Now, tell me about this, the action clock. What are you hearing back on that action clock? What's the feedback?
Well, the feedback was phenomenal from all the players that played in the WPT Tournament of Champions, which we used it on that World Poker Tour event. And, you know, everybody loved it, you know, and when I say everybody, I'd say virtually 95% loved it anyway, because they all recognize that speeding up the game, getting out more hands per level makes it more fun, more enjoyable to play. You don't have these 3-minute stare downs where guys fold after that and all that takes place.
Drama.
And those guys, they like to take a lot of time. And, you know, honestly, I believe it's the future of poker. I believe every cash game and every tournament will have an action clock at some point, and should have it, incidentally. And I was very proud that Protection Poker brought the action clock to the World Poker Tour, and that we were able to utilize it. And it went out without a hitch. Easy to deal, easy for dealers to handle it. And, you know, I think it was fantastic, and I'm all for it.
And was the lipstick camera first introduced with the WPT?
Actually, the camera on the rail might have been, but honestly, back in the 90s, there was a show called Late Night Poker over in England.
Right.
They had cameras underneath the table with glass tabletops.
Yes.
Where when you would look at your hand, they could see you looking at your hand as well as the facial expressions when you were looking at it, you know. And but that shows where it was first used to my knowledge. And then a guy from New Jersey, I'm trying now, my mind is blank here, Harry. Anyway, he invented a table where he patented a camera and poker tables and all, and the World Poker Tour and World Series actually had to pay him a fee to be able to use even though it was a different format, to pay him a fee to be able to use the
concept.
You know, the WPT whole cam, as we call it. And Steve Lipson, when he found the World Poker Tour, that was number one automatic with him. He understood that the show could never survive if the viewers couldn't see the player's card. So hats off to him for that. He would never move forward without it. And as we see, it's changed poker forever because of that show and because of his idea and because of that WPT whole cam.
That's terrific. How about the big drop? We're going to have that. I know you were involved in that back in 2012, and since then, millions of money raised.
Yeah. You know, it's a fantastic charity that raised So I played in those first two, the only two that I played in, and cashed in both of them. Only me and Antonio Esfandiari did that.
Right.
I like to joke he made the most money and I made the least, but you know, it was more fun. But it was a very exciting tournament, very exciting time. But honestly, I don't think the one drop is going to survive anymore here in the States. They may put it on again sometime. I hear they're going to do it in Monte Carlo next year. But you know, when every player has got to piece out 80% of themselves at least or something, you know, and they're all selling pieces and they're doing this and that, you know, it's just too much, honestly. And you know, whether it can last, I don't see how it can last. They were smart enough to go $1 million buy-in to $111,000. It did a million the second time, but the attendance went down the second time, and I think it would continue to go down, especially if you just had nothing but top poker players playing it. You know, you have to have the businessmen where they feel value is there if these guys play, and these guys play because of the charity, of course. And so, if you know, we'll see what happens in the future. It was certainly fun, and you know, I was fortunate that I played on the biggest bubble in poker history, and it didn't go out on the bubble, fortunately. But that's a good story that's in the book as well.
That's right. You travel quite extensively. Do you know how many miles a year you put on that body?
No, I have no idea. But traveling is part of the job. It's like professional athletes. You know, that if you're a golfer or football player, baseball player, you're on the road a fair amount. And in poker, if you're a poker commentary on the World Poker Tour, you have to travel to events. It's just part of the gig, and you know. But still, it's still really fun. You know, after all these years, Vince and I just still thoroughly enjoy final tables. You know,
absolutely.
I like to watch the excitement, the drama that unfolds, the life-changing money that it makes for some guys, where you know it changes their lives. It's just fun, and people have asked me, why was poker lasted this long on television? Why is it so popular? And the answer is simple. It's reality TV at its finest. It's real people that have put up real money, where the turn of a card is really, in many cases, life-changing money. And that kind of drama and excitement, you know, is exciting for the viewer. And, you know, so it is reality TV, honestly. And that's why it's so popular. We still have 1 million viewers a week on the World Poker Tour, which is substantial. We're on TV in 62 countries around the world, I think. So
that's a great audience.
Poker is very global now.
That's a great audience, but
it's not half time anymore. It's extremely global, and you know, I credit the World Poker Tour with expanding and certainly being the primary part of that global expansion, and I'm proud to be a part of that. But you know, I'm happy that all these other countries have found a likeness to the game that we started and established. And believe me, there's great players in every single country. I don't care where you go, they can play poker.
Well, to have someone of your caliber, a Poker Hall of Famer, alongside of Vince there, and with the enthusiasm that both of you bring, I mean, you don't hesitate. You're right there. You just bring us right in, and you're falling over. Whoa, and you see things happening, and it's just a surprise to you, and that's what we love about it, is that you're not just there doing a job. You're just bringing us in and making it feel like that camera is right in our living room. It's just like we can feel the intensity of it, and we really do appreciate that, Mike. From the bottom of my heart, I'm speaking for a lot of people that are out there. You both are great ambassadors, and you're going to go down in history as bringing, and you're talking about history in your book, as bringing that World Poker Tour and all those shows over all the years and the many years you got to come. It's going to be something that is going to be down in the books to write about, to look at, and hopefully they'll archive that so that people can look at some of those shows, because I wish I had more of Stu Unger, and I know you do too, because he was a great friend of yours.
Yeah, I look back now and wish, you just don't think about taking pictures and doing stories and making recordings with Buggy Pearson and Stu Unger and Chip Reese, and all these legends back in the day. At the time, you just didn't ever think about it or come up. Today, I think that is more prevalent that kind of stuff happens. But I appreciate the words about Vince and I as commentators. The truth is, we're poker guys first. We've been playing poker since we were 13 years old, both of us, and we were really poker guys that were brought into the poker world to do poker commentary. Mm-hmm. And we're not broadcasters from some other sport that just drew in over and put them in poker. We really are poker guys, and that's why I think that we still enjoy it and love it because we're poker people, So certainly, we we understand the drama, the bad beats, the drawouts, what it means, life-changing money. You know, as a poker guy, you appreciate that. You feel the guy's pain when they lose those pots in those 2 hours. And on the other hand, you're happy for people who you know when they make $1 million, it's life-changing for them and their family. So it is exciting for them.
And it's great that you got a partner that you just mesh with. You know, if you look at the Lakers for many years, they had Chick Hearn. Chick and Stu was a combination that you could always rely on. There was always these two folks that played off each other. He plays off of you, you play off of him. You give him lead-ins, and he takes the reins and goes. It's just a nice combination. It's a very comfortable feeling. You know, we know that you both are not at odds, that you're very good, close friends, and it just comes across. And I was in combat camera for 24 years in the Air Force, and I know about taking pictures, and I know about producing and things like that. But you guys do it very, very well, and I don't know anybody else out there that could compare to you guys. So it's the
no, you're right. We're probably every man is Johnny Carson.
There you go. That's just
one goes, the other may go. Who knows what will happen? But anyway, it's still fun, and we're coming back for season 15, so we're excited about it.
Well, that's great. Now, Life's a Gamble, again, everybody, out on the 18th at the World Series. You can get a pre-order right now on Amazon. We're going to thank Mike for all this time today. I know that he's got the busiest schedule in the world. Just trying to nail him down for this was really difficult. I appreciate everything that you and the young lady that was helping me on Facebook, I think it's Pam, is it?
Yeah.
I appreciate Pam and everything that everybody's done. Mike, we wish you great success on Life's a Gamble, and when I get to Vegas, I'll say hello to you. And Mark and Tina are good friends with mine. I used to be the dean over at Poker School Online, and anytime you want to come on Positive Poker Insiders and talk about poker, or Vince wants to come on, we'll be happy to have you back.
All right, Al, glad to do it. I appreciate it. All the best with your program, and look forward to seeing you when you come out to the World Series.
Thanks, sir. Take care.
All right.
All right, bye now. Thanks, everybody. That's Positive Poker Insiders. Al Spath signing off.